Welcome. Here is the news update on Ukraine for the 19th of September. Volodymyr Zelensky, along with Olena Zelenska, has arrived in New York to take part in the proceedings of the 78th session of the UN General Assembly. President Zelensky first met with Ukrainian soldiers undergoing rehabilitation in New York. During the UN General Assembly, President Biden pledges continued support of Ukraine.
Like every nation in the world, the United States wants this war to end. No nation wants this war to end more than Ukraine. And we strongly support Ukraine in its efforts to bring about a diplomatic resolution that delivers just and lasting peace. But Russia alone bears responsibility for this war. Russia alone has the power to end this war immediately. And it's Russia alone that stands in the way of peace, because Russia's price for peace is Ukraine's capitulation, Ukraine's territory, and Ukraine's children. Russia believes that the world will grow weary and allow it to brutalize Ukraine without consequence. But I ask you this: if we abandon the core principles of the United States to appease an aggressor, can any member state in this body feel confident that they are protected? If we allow Ukraine to be carved up, is the independence of any nation secure? I'd respectfully suggest the answer is no. We have to stand up to this naked aggression today and deter other would-be aggressors tomorrow. That's why the United States, together with our allies and partners around the world, will continue to stand with the brave people of Ukraine as they defend their sovereignty and territorial integrity and their freedom.
The video depicts the aftermath of a drone strike launched by Russia on an industrial warehouse in Lviv tonight. The fire has engulfed an area exceeding 9,000 square meters, and the efforts to extinguish it are ongoing, with a team of 125 rescuers and over 30 pieces of equipment deployed for the task. The targets were non-military. It included winter clothing, generators, and other humanitarian aid. Russian government documents have provided confirmation of Ukraine's reports on the significant losses suffered by Russia in the ongoing war, which have now reached a staggering 273,460 fatalities. According to findings from independent Russian media outlet Verstka, Russia's Ministry of Labor and Social Development has issued 259,493 death certificates since the commencement of the all-out war. This revelation clarifies the discrepancy between Russia's lower number and Ukraine's higher figure. This difference can be attributed to Russia's previous practice of only providing death certificates to the families of deceased regular army personnel until June. It is estimated that approximately 20,000 Wagner mercenaries have lost their lives in the conflict, primarily in battles that occurred before June. Verstka reports that these numbers may indirectly reflect the approximate size of the Russian forces engaged in combat and their associated casualties. Furthermore, the same ministry has also requested over 936,000 combat veteran certificates. This figure aligns with the data from Ukrainian and other sources regarding the initial deployment and recruitment of Russian troops to Ukraine since February 24, 2022. An amalgamation of Ukrainian, Western, and independent Russian data indicates the following. Approximately 2.4 Russian troops have been wounded for every soldier killed in the war, a rate notably lower than the 4-to-1 wounded-to-killed ratio observed in the US during World War II, attributed to inadequate Russian combat medical care. This suggests that roughly 650,000 Russian soldiers have sustained injuries during the conflict. Of the Russian soldiers wounded, around 60%, or approximately 390,000 individuals, are believed to have returned to active duty following medical treatment. Consequently, there are slightly over 400,000 Russian troops still deployed in Ukraine, a figure that closely corresponds to Ukrainian estimates. Albania updated their list of delivered military equipment to Ukraine. 22 international M1224 Max Pros. 82mm mortar rounds. Germany announced the details of a new package of military aid to Ukraine for €400 million. 200 MRAP armored fighting vehicles. 50 surface drones. Tens of thousands projectiles of various calibers. 480 AT-2 missiles. D-mining systems. Winter clothing. The inaugural vessel carrying Ukrainian grain has departed from the Black Sea port using a temporary corridor. According to Infrastructure Minister Oleksandr Kubrakov, the resilient Africa bulk carrier, loaded with 3,000 tons of wheat, has set sail from Ukraine's Kornomorsk port. Evan Gershkovich, a U.S. journalist arrested in Russia, appears in court. He was apprehended in Yekaterinburg, where he was employed by the Wall Street Journal, and subsequently accused of espionage. Earlier this year, the court dismissed the proposal from his legal team to release him on bail amounting to 50 million rubles, or $614,000. They also denied the possibility to place him under house arrest. According to Reuters, approximately 160,400 tons of coal originating from Donetsk and Luhansk regions, with a minimum value of $14.3 million, have been exported to Turkey this year. A portion of these shipments is transported through the ports of Rostov-on-Don and Novorossiysk, both linked to Donetsk and Luhansk via railway connections. Ukrainian forces conducted offensive operations in western Zaporizhzhia Oblast and advanced on September 18. Geolocated footage published on September 18 indicates that Ukrainian forces advanced west of Verbov, 18 kilometers southeast of Orikhiv. The Institute for the Study of War has disclosed that Ukraine's recapture of Klishchivka and Andrivka, situated to the south of Bakhmut, may have significantly weakened Russian defensive capabilities in the southern Bakhmut region. Ukrainian military sources suggest that this action could have rendered as many as 3 Russian brigades combat ineffective. The European Parliament acknowledges the regime of Belarusian dictator Alexander Lukashenko as an accomplice to the crimes committed by Russia in Ukraine, including the mass abduction of children from occupied parts of Ukraine. The Red Cross recommends that the head of its Belarus branch, Dmitry Shortsu, step down until the investigation into his support for Russia's war ends. The international community condemns Minsk's recent decision to ban passport services at its embassies abroad, calling it the latest in a long line of cynical rejections by the regime of its basic obligations to its people. Thank you for watching. If you like this content, please consider clicking the like button and subscribing.